After my daughter collapsed on Thanksgiving, my mom asked if the $2,800 allowance was enough. What allowance? I said. She went dead silent. Turns out Dad had been sending it to my brother for his mortgage. Mom knocked 30 minutes later. She stepped inside. What she did next shocked everyone. My name is Jensen. I'm 36, a dad, an older brother, and a lawyer who reads contracts the way other people read menus. Fast first, then again for the hidden fees. I'm the calm one in my family. The you'll figure it out guy. If there's a form to be filed or a call to make, it ends up on my desk even if my desk is the trunk of my car between daycare pickup and court. I share custody of my daughter, Maya. She's 9. She still mispronounces gnocchi like gnocchi, and I never correct her because I like it. I make lists on my phone. Socks, library books, inhaler, permission slip. I keep things running because my head works better when real life is tidy. In my family, tidy was my job. My brother, Cole, was the favorite, the spark, the he just needs a break guy. Growing up, Mom called him our light. Dad said he was built for big things. I was solid, which is another way to say we can lean on him. Cole tried real estate, then crypto, then a landscaping business that mostly sold hoodies. I went to law school and paid off my loans one plotting year at a time. In photos, Cole's teeth always show. Mine don't. Thanksgiving at my parents' house is muscle memory. You park next to the busted basketball hoop, step into a wall of heat from the oven, get grabbed by a hug that smells like nutmeg and detergent. The TV is always up too loud. The turkey is always dry. Grandpa's carving knife, that came from Uncle Pete, shows up even though Uncle Pete is a story more than a person. This year, I told myself it would be fine. Maya loves the paper turkeys Mom tapes to the windows. She loves Grandma's rolls. She loves the way my dad tries to cut the pie like it's a geometry class. I could handle some sly comments about billing hours and what do lawyers really do. I could handle Cole calling me counselor in that tone that turns a job into a joke. We walked in and Cole was already there, arms wide, voice wider. There he is, the man who knows every loophole. He ruffled Maya's hair. How's my favorite niece? I'm your only niece, she said, serious, and he laughed like she'd told the funniest joke in the world. Mom floated from the kitchen, cheeks flushed, apron on. Jensen, you look thin, she said, handing me a plate of carrots. Eat. Don't work through dinner this time. I don't work through dinner, I said. You think about work, Dad yelled from the living room. Same thing. We sat. We said the same prayer we always say. Dad carved. Cole talked. Mom kept sliding food onto my plate like I was a one-man buffet. The noise rose and fell. Maya tapped my arm. Can I have a roll now? She whispered. In a minute, I said. 10 minutes later, Maya set her fork down. Dad, she said quietly. My chest feels tight. I turned to her. Show me where. She put her hand over her sternum. Her face looked a shade too white. Breathe, I said, doing it with her slow. Her eyes went wide for half a second, then fuzzy, then she swayed. Call 911, I said. Calm. Automatic. My voice doing what my insides couldn't. Chair scraped. Mom gasped. Dad froze with the knife midair. Cole stood like he might catch a plate. I caught Maya. The EMTs came quickly. Oxygen, questions, their certainty filling the room like cool air. Dehydration, they said. Maybe anxiety plus excitement. Maybe the room was too warm. They recommended a quick check at the ER because of her history of asthma. I nodded at every word because that's what you do when your brain is on fire. At the ER, fluorescent lights made everything look too honest. Maya's color came back. Her breathing was normal. She fell asleep with her hand in mine, and her hair stuck to her forehead. I sat there counting the seconds and pretending to read a poster about hand washing. Mom came in holding a paper cup of water and a small worried smile. She didn't sit. Is the allowance still enough? She said. Like we were mid-conversation. The $2,800 your father sends every month. I blinked. What allowance? Her mouth opened and closed once. She stared at me like I'd just spoken a language she didn't know. Her eyes shifted to Maya and then to the hallway. Aisle, she said and left. 30 minutes later, there was a knock. Same door. Same humming light. Mom stepped in, closed it behind her, and locked it with a neat click. She held a small folder. She looked like someone walking in to testify. What she did next shocked everyone. I didn't know it yet, but that one question had a whole ledger behind it, and my name was inked everywhere. I need to back up before that folder. My family runs on unspoken rules. Rule 1, Cole is the project. Rule 2, Jensen is the project manager. Rule 3, we don't say either part out loud. When Cole's buy and hold crypto phase turned into buy and panic, he called me at midnight. Bro, they're doing rug pulls, he said, like he'd discovered gravity. I helped him call the exchange. I helped him document what was lost. I helped him file a complaint that went nowhere. I also brought him soup the next day and pretended the world hadn't just told him no in big letters. When mom's credit card balance quietly built through Christmases that were just this once, I moved her to a 0% APR offer and set up autopay. She cried on the phone because numbers make my head hurt. I talked her through downloading the bank app like it was brain surgery. She told everyone at brunch that Jensen saved us, then asked me if I could just keep an eye on the account. I became the eye. When Dad had knee surgery and the insurance denied part of the claim, I wrote the appeal letter in the hospital cafeteria with a plastic fork in my pocket and the smell of disinfectant in my nose. I got the denial reversed. Dad told the story to 3 neighbors like he'd wrestled a bear. He never mentioned that I also paid the anesthesia bill when it came due because we'll pay it next month turned into we forgot. Cole has a mortgage. He says mortgage the way people say mountain. Heavy. Noble. He and his wife, Amber, bought the house right before rates went crazy. Dad posted a photo of the keys and wrote, "Proud of our boy. Homeowner at last." I helped them move in. I installed shelves. I unclogged a disposal. I stood in the driveway with a trash bag while Cole broke down boxes like he was in a montage. They also had a way of making their money problems my homework. "Counselor," Cole would say, smiling. "Is it illegal for the bank to charge late fees when I told them I was sick?" "Did you tell them in writing?" I'd ask. "Verbal counts," he'd say. "It doesn't," I'd say. He'd frown like I'd betrayed him and then ask if I could drop by to make a call, because they take you more seriously. I started to track, the way lawyers do when the facts feel slippery. Not to sue my family, to keep myself honest. March, 3 calls about Cole's overdraft fees, 2 hours on hold, $138 reversed. April, new payment plan for mom's card, time spent, 40 minutes, result, $25 saved, cost, my patience. June, Dad forgets to sign his physical therapy forms. I drive to the clinic on my lunch break. They close early. I go back the next morning before court. I told myself it was love. It was also a habit. The humiliations were small, but constant. At a barbecue, Dad stood next to Cole's new grill and said, "You should take notes, Jens. Owning things is how you build wealth." He said it to me, the guy who had just written the closing letter for a client buying a commercial building. I smiled, ate potato salad, and went home to my rented townhouse that I keep because I like predictable repairs and fixed rent more than I like debt. Mom would hand me envelopes to look at real quick while I was cutting Maya's chicken. Cole would ask me legal questions at the exact moment Maya needed the bathroom. I became the person who could be interrupted without fallout. Then Cole's mortgage got wobbly. He'd forget a due date. He'd say the bank's portal was down. He'd say the escrow was wrong. He said the word predatory about a basic late fee. He said, "They're trying to take my house," and Dad nodded like he'd been briefed by the Senate. "Banks are snakes," Dad would say, like a sentence ends an argument. "Pay the bill," I'd say, and get a look like I'd kicked a puppy. Mom started softening me up. "Your brother is under a lot of stress," she'd whisper in the kitchen. Amber's hours got cut. "It's not like back when you were starting out." "When I was starting out," I said, "I lived in a studio above a restaurant that made the whole place smell like garlic knots. I didn't buy a house." She blinked. "You could have," she said. "No," I said, "I couldn't." Dad started using "we" in a way that had my name pressed flat underneath. "We need to help him through this patch," he said on the phone one night. "We'll all do our part." "What is our part?" I asked. "You make more than he does," he said, like a weather report. "I also have a child," I said. "Cole wants kids someday," he said. "Someday is not a budget item," I said. He sighed. "You're being difficult." I thought about boundaries. I thought, and then I did very little. I answered fewer texts at night. I let calls go to voicemail while I was brushing Maya's teeth. I told myself this was progress. Then the weird stuff started. Mom would say things like, "Is Maya okay for next month with extras?" "Extras?" She'd say. "Your father says the allowance is generous," with this proud tilt to her chin. I thought she meant child support from my ex. "We have a schedule and we split costs. There's no allowance. There's math." Once, Cole joked, "Man, Dad's saving your butt," with this grin that didn't match anything I knew. I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Never mind," and looked at Dad, who coughed. I filed it under weird and kept moving because I was late to pick Maya up from soccer. That's the version of me I don't like. The guy who sees smoke and says, that's probably a candle, because getting the extinguisher is inconvenient. Then came Thanksgiving and the folder. And Mom's question about the $2,800. Not hundreds. Not a random gift. A system. A number with a comma. Every part of my body sat up inside my skin. Every part of my job did, too. I know what memos mean. I know what "for Maya" typed in a transfer note can do to someone's brain. It excuses things. It wraps theft in baby pink. I kept thinking, no, no, no. And at the same time, of course, I'd been carrying something and I didn't even know who else had their hands on it. And a part of me, the quiet, angry part, whispered, you were the only one who thought you were crazy. The ER room was soft and sterile. Maya slept. Machines hummed. Mom sat with the folder on her lap like it might bite. I need you to be honest, I said. She nodded, fingertips on the folder's edge. I thought, she whispered. I thought we were helping you and Maya. Your father said he set up an allowance. He said you'd never ask, so he was doing it quietly. I didn't want to embarrass you by asking. I should have asked. Show me, I said. She opened the folder. Bank statements. Monthly transfers. $2,800. Notes. For Maya school. For Maya dentist. For Maya clothes. For Maya camp. The money left an account with my father's name. It didn't land in any account with mine. Where does it go? I asked. Before she could answer, the door opened and Dad walked in with Cole behind him. Timing like a bad play. Dad looked at Maya first, then at the folder, then at me. Cole looked at anything but my eyes. Is she okay? Dad asked. She's sleeping, I said. Close the door. He did. He didn't sit. Neither did Cole. What's this? I asked, tapping the statements. Dad said it like a reflex. We help family. Where? I said again, slow. Does this money go? Dad swallowed. His eyes flicked to Cole. It goes where it's needed, he said. Say the next sentence, I said. To Cole, Mom said, voice small and exhausted. She looked at my father like she didn't know him. It's temporary, Dad said, faster now. Just until they get their feet under them. He's got a mortgage. Interest is criminal. You know how the banks are. You labeled my child in the memo, I said. You used her name so Mom wouldn't ask questions. Dad's jaw worked. It's all the same in the end, he said. We're one family. It's a pot. Cole finally spoke. Look, it was Dad's idea, he said. He said you're fine. You're a lawyer. We were drowning. The bank is. Not the villain, I said. Your choices are. It's not that simple, Cole muttered. It is, I said. Don't talk to your brother like that, Dad snapped. He's under pressure. You've never had that kind of pressure. I've had pressure, I said quietly. I just didn't make it everyone else's bill. Mom touched the folder with 2 fingers like she might push it away. Mark, she said to my father, tell him how long. Dad stared at the floor. 8 months, he said. 12, Cole said, barely audible. Started last Thanksgiving. Remember? The furnace. Mom made a sound I've only heard once, when her sister died. It wasn't crying. It was an animal noise. You put "for Maya" on 12 transfers. Dad straightened his shoulders like a man putting on a uniform. I'm the father, he said. I decide how we help our children. I looked at Maya. I took a breath that didn't quite reach the bottom of my lungs. Not anymore, I said. It ends today. You don't mean that, Dad said, smiling without his eyes. You're emotional. We can discuss this like adults. I am, I said. Here's the discussion. No more transfers. No more calls where I fix what you break. No more using my daughter's name like a coupon code. If there is any account where my name appears in a way that gives you access to anything, remove it. Today. If you have paperwork that suggests consent from me for any arrangement, assume it is revoked. Today. You can't revoke what you didn't authorize, Dad said, smirking like a man who thinks he knows the law because he reads headlines. Watch me, I said, and watch the letter I'm sending to your bank. Cole scoffed. You gonna sue your family, counselor? This isn't about revenge, I said. This is about closure. Silence. Heavy. Even the machine in the corner sounded careful. Dad stepped closer, chin out. You're tearing this family apart. You did that when you lied to Mom, I said. You did that when you typed my daughter's name into a memo line to justify stealing from me. Stealing, he snapped. I raised you. I wiped your nose. I paid for your books. This is how it works. It comes around. I paid for my books, I said. Loans. With interest. You paid for a cap and gown. I thank you. Don't rewrite history because it serves you. Mom's shoulders shook. She put a hand over her mouth. Enough, she said into her palm. Then, louder, enough. Mark, I believed you. I believed you. Dad's voice dropped into soft, manipulative. Honey, I was protecting Jensen's pride. I laughed. It slipped out. You protected my pride by making me the bad guy in absentia? That's a new one. Cole's face went red. We would have paid you back, he said. When the bonus hits. What bonus? I asked. Silence. I'm done, I said, and the words felt like taking a weight off a hook. You can be mad. You can play the martyr. You can tell the cousins a story about how I turned cold. Meanwhile, I will be moving my life out of your reach. You wouldn't do that to your mother, Dad said, pointing like a man calling a witness hostile. Mom dropped her hand. Her eyes were wet and clear. He would, she said. And he should. Dad looked like someone had pulled the floor a half-inch lower. Cole blinked at Mom like she defected mid-game. I put my palm on Maya's hair. We're leaving now, I said. When I get home, I'm freezing my credit. I'm removing my name from any joint nonsense that exists. I'm changing passwords. If you have keys to my place, you'll return them. If you have documents with my information, you'll give them to me. If you try to use me without my consent, I will act like the lawyer you keep mocking. That is the last free explanation you get. I lifted Maya gently, told the nurse we were going home, and walked past my father and my brother. No slam. No yelling. Just a door opening and closing. The sound it made was the cleanest thing I'd heard all year. The first morning after, my phone looked like an emergency broadcast system. 19 missed calls from Dad. 12 from Cole. For texts from Aunt Linda, who has never met a boundary she couldn't label rude. 2 calls from a number I didn't recognize that turned out to be Dad's office line. 1 voicemail from Mom. Call when you can. I didn't. I made pancakes shaped like letters because Maya loves spelling with food. She ate cat and asked if she could feed tea to the dog. We don't have a dog. She meant the neighbors. I said no, and she laughed like I'd made a joke. While she watched a cartoon, I opened my laptop and made a bullet list like a client had handed me a crisis. Freeze credit. Pull credit reports. Check for any weird accounts. Remove my name from any for convenience additions at Mom's bank. Change every password and enable 2-factor on everything. Update Maya's school pickup list. Me, her mom, our neighbor Rita. No grandparents. Draft a letter to Dad's bank instructing them to place a note on any transfer referencing my name to alert me. Draft a letter to Cole's mortgage servicer instructing them to cease contacting me. Remove my info, and note I am not a party. Gather any mail with my info at my parents' house. Put a hold on new credit offers. I did them, one by one, between snack breaks and refilling water bottles. The adult equivalent of baby-proofing my life. Dad's text came in hard then wheeled toward guilt. Dad, you misunderstood. Dad, we always share. Dad, I'm the father. I decide. Dad, don't punish your brother for being human. Dad, call me. Dad, call me. Dad, call me. Dad, we are coming over if you don't answer. I typed, do not come over. Do not use my name. This is not a discussion. Cole tried another lane. Cole, dude, you humiliated Dad in the ER. Cole, you love money more than people. Cole, the bank is predatory. Cole, if we lose the house, it's on you. Cole, you could blink and make it right. Cole, remember when I watched Maya that one time? I stared at that one for a minute. I typed, you washed your knees for 2 hours in 2019. Thank you, and muted the thread. Mom's text was simple. Mom, I'm sorry. I should have asked. Can we talk? I looked at Maya building a fort with couch cushions. Not today, I wrote back. My hands shook a little. Then they didn't. I told Maya the truth in kid size. Grandma and Grandpa made a money mistake, I said. We're making sure nobody uses your name without asking me. She nodded like an adult. Okay, she said. Can I use my name to put on my fort? Like a sign? Yes, I said. That's exactly how names should be used. 2 days later, an envelope from my dad showed up in my mailbox. Inside, printed bank statements. Same $2,800. Same from Maya, in the memo like a ribbon. A sticky note, see? Not hiding. Dad. I set it on the counter and stared until the ink blurred. I put it in a folder labeled evidence, because part of me is always at work. Mom left a voicemail that made my chest hurt. I am so sorry, she said. I wanted to believe we were saints. We weren't. Call me when you can. She sounded like the air had gone out of her, like she'd run out of euphemisms. The house was quiet in a way it hadn't been. No, can you just texts? No last-minute quick favor calls. No request that cost me a day and repaid me with a guilt trip. I didn't realize how much noise I was carrying until it went away. I started making rice and beans on Sundays, so weekday dinners were easier. I set up an auto transfer labeled Maya Future, $150 on the 15th. Not a performance. Not a headline number. Just something real. I ran 2 miles in the morning while Maya made faces in the mirror with her hairband like a superhero. I slept. Then the family PR machine tried to start up. Aunt Linda, your father is beside himself. Think of your brother's mental health. Uncle Tom, we're a team. Don't go rogue. Cousin Becca, can you at least explain it to me so I can explain it to Grandma? I replied the same to each, in different words, but the same backbone. I love you. No more money. No more lies. Boundaries are not cruelty. Dad called on a Sunday. I answered. I was tired of being a ghost in my own story. You're making this bigger than it is, he said without hello. It's exactly as big as it is, I said. You don't dictate how I help my kids, he said. You don't get to use my child's name to justify helping your other kid, I said. It was for the family, he said. It was for you to feel like a savior, I said, and the line went quiet. You think you're perfect, he said. No, I said. I think I'm done. He huffed. You'll regret this when you need us. What I need is not to be stolen from, I said, and we both knew stolen is what it was. He hung up. An email pinged later from a mortgage company I've never used. Subject, final notice. Cole had CC'd me and Mom. No message. Maybe a scare tactic. Maybe a cry for help. I hit reply all and typed, please remove me from this thread. I am not a party to this loan. Do not contact me again. I signed it with my name and attorney at law, because sometimes you have to speak in dialect. I told Maya we'd skip Sunday dinner at Grandma's for a while. She pouted. Then she asked if we could make our own rolls. We bought yeast. They came out dense and weird, and we ate them with butter and laughed. A week later, Mom asked to meet at the park near my place. Public. Neutral. I said yes. She sat on a bench with a small envelope and a huge apology in her eyes. I opened my own bank account, she said, like a confession. I should have years ago. I'm proud of you, I said. She handed me the envelope. Copies, she said, in case anyone tries to rewrite the story. I didn't want to need them. I took them anyway. She looked at the ducks because eye contact was hard. I believed what I wanted to believe, she said. That we were helping you. That your father had softened. It made me feel like we were good parents again. I'm sorry. I know, I said. I was busy believing my version too. That if I kept doing, things would change. They didn't. She nodded. I told your father he can't use your name like a hammer anymore, she said. He's angry. He can be angry, I said. He can also be alone with that anger. She winced. Jens, I'm not punishing him, I said. I'm just not joining. She swallowed, then smiled, tired. You always were stubborn. I learned from the best, I said, and we both laughed a little. On the way home, Maya asked if Grandma was still mad. I said, probably at herself more than anyone. Maya nodded like she understood more than she should. Cole texted that night. Cole, so that's it? You're just out? Me. I'm out of being used. I'm not out of being your brother if you ever act like one. He didn't reply. He sent a thumbs-up reaction 2 days later like a man signing for a package. Life went on in small, good ways. I took Maya to the cheap movie theater with sticky floors. We made a calendar for chores and put silly stickers on it. I went to bed earlier. I checked my email less. The silence that used to scare me started to feel like air. There was no reunion speech or miracle apology. The calls slowed, the group chat went quiet, and the distance settled into a honest, livable normal. Mom checks in about Maya, catches herself before asking for favors, brings soup, leaves on time. Cole still blasts monthly about to pop texts. I keep them muted. If he ever asks like an adult, with a plan, I'll consider it once. Dad and I stick to weather and traffic. It's not pretty, but it's true. I don't retell the saga. I know what happened, what I chose, and why. With fewer holes, my money leaks less. The bigger win is time. More patience for Maya's too long bedtime. More quiet nights without shower arguments. The moral's simple. Love doesn't cancel math. Family isn't a wallet password. Writing for Maya on a transfer doesn't turn taking into giving. I'm not an allowance or a safety net. I'm Maya's dad, a brother, a son. None of that requires bleeding on command. I don't need revenge. I needed a closed door. Now, no is a policy. I won't let my daughter's name be a coupon. Or, we mean you pay. I'm choosing a boring, good life on purpose. Pancake letters, a 15th of the month transfer, bad rolls with butter. A calm phone, and one sentence that still fits. This isn't revenge, it's closure. The lock clicked. I'm holding the key.